I'm going to introduce Simon very, very quickly here. He's going to remain anonymous. He's a guy that I've spoken with and sort of had interactions with over certainly the last 12 months through Brandon Sibley's site, Big Sib, Alphonse Fagiolo. And he's proved to be a very, very knowledgeable guy and a skilled litigator. So we were just talking in the background there. Simon was telling me you just dropped off. Was it a complaint you dropped off yesterday, Simon?
Yes, I filed a judicial complaint against a district judge. So
brilliant.
And so hopefully that'll rein her in a little bit. But I wouldn't say. I think you're overselling me a little bit as an accomplished or knowledgeable litigator. I try to do my bit, as we were saying before. If not me, who? And if not now, when? So we all have to do a little bit.
And the fact that you're humble is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And always helping, which is great. Your service to others, which is hopefully the new world that we're all moving into.
Yeah, that's what I like yourself. That's the main reason. I mean, you start out looking out for yourself, but then you sit there and you read other people's stories on these Telegram groups, and you hear about things, and a lot of people are going off half-cocked and getting themselves into a lot of trouble. And then you sit and think, okay, let's try and stop the damage. And in some cases, it is, the easiest way out is to call time and end their own particular fight and start again next year or with something else, because you're never short of things to fight. That's for sure.
Well, certainly now, would you say it's become far more overtly oppressive now than it's ever been? What do you think?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, we're always hearing every day somebody's been arrested or spoken to for a non-crime hate issue or non-hate crime, and there's people, as we all know, serving time in jail for sharing, not even writing posts on X or Facebook and putting stickers around. Everybody is scared.
It's insanity. But yeah. I can only think that they've had their ignorance of the law used against them, haven't they? I mean, I can only think that they've had some sort of duty solicitor, has come in and said, I've struck a deal. And, if you just do this, the next thing, they're stood in front of a judge, not knowing what the hell's going on, and they're put away. And they can't agree to it.
Well, that's half the problem. When the police come to talk to these people, they actually engage with them.
Yes.
Instead of, obviously, I can't give legal advice to anybody else, but I certainly wouldn't talk to them at all.
If you have the right to remain silent for a reason.
Absolutely. That's one of the first questions. Either, do I have the right to remain silent? Yes. Well, I will exercise that right. Thank you very much. Or I just, quite simply, as a lot of people say, I do not answer questions, and leave it at that. And if it's important and they've got just cause, then they'll come back with a warrant.
That's right.
And if they haven't, well, hopefully they'll go away and just say, don't come back without one.
Otherwise, you're trespassing.
Yeah, well, I've done that with solicitors before, when they write to you and make threatening letters towards you. And you write back to them and say, look, don't write to me again unless there's a summons attached with the particulars of claims. Because if you do, then you'll be getting one yourself. And funny old thing, they never bother you again. And a complaint to the SRA just to sweeten it for them. And I've had personally 2 solicitors now that have done that and gone away.
It's funny you say that. I had a solicitor, and I happened to point out their SRA registration, and the regulations surrounding that, and how I'd be happy to put a complaint in, if they bother me again.
Yeah.
The fact that with harassment laws and what have you, and again, funnily enough, you point this out to them because they're so used to dealing with people that through no fault of their own are unduly ignorant of the law, and they get their own way, don't they? They're just steamroll people. They just intimidate and bully.
Yeah, people are intimidated by the letter, and as soon as somebody bites back and says, "Listen, I don't know who you are or what you're saying. Don't write to me again unless it's attached to a summons. And if you do, Mr. So and so, SRA number 123456 in brackets, I'll be suing you."
Brilliant.
That effect, and they know as soon as you put their SRA number in, which is very easy to find.
Yeah, true.
They know they're on dodgy ground.
Yes. Well, they're terrified of getting a complaint lodged with that particular organisation, because they can and do come down heavy on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll see what comes back from this judicial complaint that I made, like I say, just yesterday. So we'll see what comes of that.
And that was against the district judge.
Yeah, district judge. Was hearing an application. I can't give too many details of it because it wasn't my case. I was just a Mackenzie friend for somebody. And unfortunately, the things I witnessed was basically, I'm not saying that the judge, well, I did say she made an error in law, actually, but that wasn't the reason. It was the way she treated the applicant, her demeanour, her arrogance was just, if you've not sat in one, it can make your blood boil. I was steaming sitting there. It was really hard not to stand up and say something, and I sit there and think, let this be over soon so I can get on and write this complaint out. And they've got it now. So hopefully, she's not been a judge for that long. I mean, you can find out all the details on the judges. It's all on the website, on the internet. I can't remember the site that I use now, but is it justice.co.uk or something like that?
Yeah.
All the judges' details on there, when they first were invited by the king or the queen to sit on the bench, and their history and bits and pieces. So it's all there. So I mean,
brilliant.
This lady, she's only been a judge. I think she was invited in 2020, so she's only been a judge 4 years, and already
thy enemy.
Well, yeah, she's already become an arrogant, obnoxious, ignorant person. I mean, the poor chap I was helping, is a normal working man, and not massively educated or anything. He's a tradesman. He, conducted himself with more decorum and more respect than she did.
Well, she lives in the ego, and he's a proper bloke, right, doing a proper job. And probably got 10 times the common sense that she's got. She's just completely unfortunately. I had a district judge like that. They seem to breed egotistical fucking psychopaths or maniacs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the decorum. Just, I can't think of the phrase right now, but just their attitude. It's the dignity of what he conducted himself with was impressive, and it was worthy of note. And how they can just sit there and steamroll over people, not listen to them. I mean, she was having a conversation with the solicitor for the other party, and it was like just those two were in the room.
Yeah. We had this. I had this at my son's hearing, family court. The opposing solicitor was possibly one of the most obnoxious people I've ever met, and she, to the point that before the hearing, I went because she knew I'd done all the paperwork for him. I'd come in as a Mackenzie friend, and she knew that they couldn't get past what had been written because of some procedural deficiencies from before. So she had the but I put out my hand to shake because she went to speak to my son. She got between me and my son, put her back to me, and I said, "Excuse me." I walked round, I put my hand out, and she said, No, I won't shake your hand. I've just sanitized it." That's what she said, and I thought, "Oh, great! You've used that nice toxic hand sanitizer from the COVID times. Yeah, well done."
You should have told her, "Oh, thank you for warning me. I wouldn't want any of those toxins in my body."
Exactly. Yeah. You keep your poisonous fucking hand gels.
How incredibly rude, though.
Yeah. Oh, but she wanted me to react to it. I just laughed.
Yeah. I feel sorry for you, but I mean, come, can you say revolution? Come the revolution. I say,
well, peaceful revolution that's coming, definitely. Yeah. I think a revolution where people just down tools, don't go to work, and stop giving money to criminals in suits.
We can call it evolution. Is that better than revolution? Because revolution,
I think so. I think we need to evolve as a collective. Yes, definitely.
So come the evolution and the realization, I don't know how these people are going to hold their heads, in front of the normal people. When people do realize or find out what's been going on for so long now.
Yeah.
And that brings about the change that's needed. How are these other people that are all part of this system that just leeches off of everybody?
Yeah.
Hold their heads. I find that a question I can't fathom.
I don't think they're going to be able to walk the streets, to be honest. I think the good book says that.
Yeah, and it rightly so. I mean, there's maybe somebody should collate a list of names and addresses of all these people. I don't know. It's been done in history before, hasn't it? And then when things do change, people can sit there and say, "Well, would you like to explain yourself?" I don't know.
I think stick them all on an island. Give them all a hammer and, let them just fight it out amongst themselves. I don't, to be honest, unless those people genuinely can repent and, genuinely repent, change their character. And I think it's too late for a lot of those people. Then they've got no place in the new society, the new world we want to build, have they? I mean, so you've either got to stick them in prison for an indefinite time or fuck them off to an island and just keep them on there and maybe have them as a reality show, give them all a hammer each and let the psychos fucking go at it amongst themselves.
That's it. So let them find each other in bits and pieces until they're happy. There you go. You can play your courts, you can work out your battles, who's going to control everybody and who can tell everybody what they can and can't do and impose your will on them.
Let the psychopaths psycho one another.
And just leave all us here that just want to get on with our own lives, mind our own business to ourselves. And that's all we want. Just crack on to ourselves and interact with those that we want to interact with and those that we don't. We're not always going to agree with everybody. We don't have to agree with everybody. Sometimes it's good to have a discussion. And not a disagreement, but just a difference of opinions on things. It makes it far more interesting and funny. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to look the rest of us in the face, in the eyes. I just don't. There you go.
I think those with a conscience won't, and I think there are those that are too far gone that are completely. The sociopaths, the psychopaths have got no empathy. They wouldn't care what you and I thought.
No, and that's the thing. They have no empathy for others. They must know what they're doing. I mean, some of the cases I've had, they know they're not correct. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they just don't seem to care about it. So we have to, like you say, we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to get in the books. We have to put in the work and say, well, you're wrong and this is why.
That's right.
And that's all we can do. I mean, like COVID, all of the people that got fined over COVID and all the restrictions that were put in place, the people enforcing those must have known what they were doing, yet they still chose to do it.
I think you're right. Well, I definitely know you're right, but I think also 50-50. And I'll tell you why, because if you were to speak to my two eldest sisters and my father, for that matter, they still believe COVID was real. And they would tell you that, you know, Boris did the best he could under difficult circumstances. That's what they would tell you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm at the other end of the spectrum. I think that statement alone is batshit mental.
Yeah.
You know, which it is. The whole thing was a fucking psyop. You know, there was no virus, and it was utter nonsense. It was a psychological operation. You know, and just basic things. I mean, just one thing I could just pull out my backside right now. Just one fact. I've got millions of facts I could throw at it, but just one. And I did say this to my dad. I said, well, two things. One, if there's a health pandemic, why are a team of behavioural psychologists, right?
Yeah.
Professor Susan Mitchell, paid up communist, and a behavioural psychologist and a team of behavioural psychologists leading a pandemic response, a health pandemic. That's the first thing. That huge anomaly there says everything. It's got nothing to do with health. It's about compliance. Secondly, you know, the second highest ranking public servant, crown servant, whatever, the Prime Minister, who has MI5, MI6, all the intelligence services at his disposal. Yeah. Probably one of the most protected individuals at any given time in this country. Now, why was he having a fucking party having 40 guests at the height of a so-called pandemic? You know, I put that to my dad, and he went completely nuts, because they can't deal with it. The programming, the level of fear, and that's the problem. I know I've sort of gone into one a little bit there, but what I'm saying is this: I agree with everything you've said, but there's 50%, yes, and the other 50 who are like my father and my two sisters, who to this day would fight you to the death, on the point that they believe COVID was real, and that they would say Matt Hancock was great. Seriously.
I wouldn't go so far. I mean, whether COVID was real or not, to me, it makes no odds. Whether it was a rebranded flu, whether it was a tweaked flu or anything, to me, it was definitely an experiment on control and just how much control they had. Maybe it was an experiment to, it was a bit of a baiting to find out who are the people that we need to keep an eye on, who complied, who didn't, who should we should, you know, draw out the wheat from the chaff sort of thing. So everybody that is not registered as vaccinated or has a fine against them or any issue, well, maybe they'll be on a list somewhere, because it's not like the old days where a list was a list and somebody had to write it out. It'd be, you know, probably the press of a button on a keyboard, and there might be 20 million names on there or whatever, and that's not impossible to track.
Not now. You're quite right, with the AI and everything else they have.
And then that can be targeted as what was that company that got in trouble over Brexit because they basically sent fake ads or triggering ads that were individually tailored to individuals on Facebook. There was a documentary a while ago.
Oh, yes.
When I used to watch TV, and they were offering to sell them the technology, and they were saying, this is what we've done, and we know what will trigger him, and basically can control the way his thoughts or his responses. So
it's mind manipulation, basically.
Exactly. That would be very easy to do this day and age. So maybe it was a tool to out that type of person, the person that is more willing to think for themselves, more self-reliant. I don't know.
They do this through the TV and the radio with the subliminal. They've been doing that for years, especially with the advertising. And but the one thing that I can tell you, there is a percentage of the population. I looked into this. Now, there are 10%. It's either 5 or 10% of the population that cannot be hypnotized. It wouldn't matter what you throw at them.
Yeah,
they cannot be hypnotized, and I think that's us. I think that's certainly within all these groups, that was able to just laugh off the whole COVID thing. So, this is insane. Why has everyone gone batshit mental? Out in the public, they're standing on stickers on the floor, for God's sake. Absolutely.
Can't stand there. Why not? Well, we've got to stand there. What?
20 cents? Why?
Side 20 cents. You want me to stand here? Yes. Okay.
Specifically there on that sticker.
Yeah. Well, again, that's the other thing. I mean, just because somebody puts on a uniform, we've been indoctrinated. I mean, if you bring up your children and they cause trouble, and you say, do this or do that, and they say why, and you turn around and say, because I told you so, or because I said so, then you can't really complain when your child grows up and they, a car park attendant that's volunteering for the day at the local air show or whatever. No, you can't go there, mate. Park over there, do it, and they'll comply.
Yeah.
Or it's one way. I went to a shop today, and I went in to get a light bulb, and I went through the barriers that they've got now. They've all got barriers, obviously, to stop people, I guess, running in now. And literally within about 3-4 meters, there was a attendant there, a worker refilling the shelves. And I said, I'm after this light bulb. She goes, oh, no, we don't sell those small ones. We only sell the big ones. I says, oh, thank you very much. And I went to leave. She goes, oh, no, it's one way. And to go all the way around, it was about 3 aisles you had to go down to get out.
Oh, God.
And because the barriers were there, you couldn't get. I said, oh, thank you very much. I just turned and walked out anyway. But now she would have thought, probably, what a rude gentleman.
No, but you've just used common sense. You're using your common sense to discern the shortest distance between 2 points.
But this is society teaching people basically that using your common sense or having an easy life, making the easier choice, is rude to others. And this is the start. I'm noticing it more and more. Everything is about others. And when everything is about others, and that becomes, you have to fit in with others, and you stop booking. That's all. I mean, when people
that's collectiveness, and it's communism, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Communism is people think of a different thing. They don't see it in their own lives. And when you take off of the rich or those that have, because those haven't, and we were speaking the other day about holiday homes. And they were saying they're going to put council tax up to 200-300% on holiday homes because the locals can't afford to live there. Well, that's capitalism. And if you take off those that have, well, these haven't got it. Well, those that have either, the majority, I would proffer, have worked very hard for that. Very few people have been given golden spoons or silver spoons.
That's right.
And they've had the same opportunities as those that haven't. They probably left their home when they were 16 and went to get a job or joined the forces and started working that and maybe had some side hustles or, and got a couple of extra incomes, and then they maybe had a bit of luck and bought a property at the right time and then released the equity and got, I don't know, but when you take off of one because others don't have, that's communism, and it's everywhere in our
society. I agree with you.
And people need to realise just how prevalent it is. It's
individual rights
have gone.
It's all about, we've got constitutionally protected individual rights. God gave us individual rights, and it's a case of this is, and you're quite right, they've seeded into the public consciousness, this. It's for the collective. It's the good of everyone. No. It's my rights end where yours begin.
Absolutely.
Individual rights, and I used to say to people, because I'd be the only bloody one. This is when I used to go into supermarkets at the beginning of COVID. I wouldn't go near a fucking supermarket now. But my point is this: I'd be the only one in there without a mask, and oh, your granny killer, and I'm like, well, you're not here with your granny. I'm not going to kill her. I don't even know where she lives. And secondly, you fucking do you, and I'll do fucking me. Thank you. You've got a mask on, so piss off. If you think that's going to protect you, that's fine. I haven't got to wear one.
I mean, the classic story is the Monty Python. Yes, we're all individuals. I'm not, sort of thing. And in the crowd scene, we are all individuals. In a crowd is made up of all individuals. And if the individual doesn't have any rights, then the crowd doesn't have any rights. And the old, it's a saying, first they came for the communists. I said nothing because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the fascists. I said nothing because I wasn't a fascist. Then they came for the protagonist. I said nothing. Then they came for me. Oh, there's nobody left.
That's right.
Speak for me. And people need to realize that the collective is a bunch of individuals. And if every individual has sovereignty, which is almost becoming a dirty word, and is responsible for themselves, then the collective has the same rights. But if the individual doesn't, well, you're all individuals. You're all individuals in this group.
You've got it. I'll tell you that's brilliantly put, and that's a fact, and very important for the audience to ascertain that. It is all about individual rights, and our English constitutional statutes, common law protects our individual rights, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
And the British establishment, the ruling classes, have tried to take those rights and give us legislated, administrative law rights, state-given privileges, whereas we have God-given, indefeasible rights, inalienable rights, and they are protected in a number of English constitutional statutes, the English Bill of Rights, the Magna Carta, etc. It's just about people understanding we're English, and people understanding that the British regime is now trying to impose communism here.
It's already here. It's everywhere you look. If you opened your eyes genuinely, and anything that is for the benefit of others, I don't mean in a selfish way. I mean in a collective way. Anything that restricts what any one person wants to do, and the excuse is it's for the benefit of everybody, just take a step back and just think, where have I heard something like that before? And just think about it for a minute. And you think, it's everywhere you look. You don't even need to look. It just is. I mean, talking of rights and things, one thing I think everybody should read, it's a relatively short read. I just wanted to get this, is
please.
Thomas Paine's The Rights of Man. It's a very, very short read. It's not a thick book. You might have to read it twice, each chapter itself.
I've not heard of that. I'm going to write that down.
Thomas Paine.
Is that P-A-Y-N-E?
No, it's P-A-I-N-E.
Excellent. I'm glad I asked. P-A-I-N-E, and that's The Rights of Man.
Yes, it's a very simple. It's not. A lot of the old books are real volumes. The significant read. This is not. It's essential reading. It's relatively easy. It's written in Old English, so you might have to read it, 2 or 3 times. Otherwise you just end up reading words, you're not understanding what it says. But it's not a difficult read to do, and it will make you understand our rights, or the Constitution. It deals with the French Revolution, basically, and it deals with Edmund Burke's letters about it and bits and pieces. It's a fascinating read. It's very informative. It's eye-opening, and everybody should take a look at that.
Hey folks, Gavin here, and I want to talk real quick about our main sponsor, Dr. Frederick Graves, and his groundbreaking law course. Have you ever felt lost in the legal system? Maybe you faced a summons, a traffic ticket, a small claims dispute, or something bigger, and the thought of standing before a judge made your stomach drop. You're not alone. The courtroom can feel like a maze full of rules and jargon that seem impossible to crack. But what if I told you there's a way to walk in with confidence, ready to win? That's where the jurisdictionary law course comes in. Created by Dr. Frederick Graves, an attorney with over 40 years of winning cases, this course is your guide to mastering the courtroom. It's packed with everything you need: video seminars, audio clips, and in-depth classes that break down every step, from filing pleadings to winning appeals. You'll get flowcharts, sample forms, even a legal dictionary that makes sense of those tricky terms. And it's all online 24/7, so you can learn on your phone or laptop whenever it suits you. Imagine this: instead of feeling scared or unsure, you step into court knowing exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and what to do. Whether you're fighting on your own or teaming up with a solicitor, this course hands you the tools to take charge. You'll learn how to present evidence that sticks, get judges to listen, and make sure everyone plays by the rules. Good people like you have struggled too long because they didn't know how to fight back. But with jurisdictionary, that changes. In just a few days, you'll have skills that take law students years to master. And here's the best part: once you finish the course, you'll earn an honorary law degree, proof you're a force to be reckoned with. So why let fear hold you back? This isn't just about understanding the law. It's about using it to protect what matters: your rights, your family, your future. Whether it's civil or criminal, you'll be ready to conquer any courtroom challenge. And it's easier than you think, step-by-step guidance that's quick to learn and simple to follow. Don't wait for the next legal hurdle to catch you off guard. Click the link below right now to get started. Take that first step today and unlock the power to win. Because with jurisdictionary, the courtroom isn't a maze anymore. It's your chance to shine. Right then, let's crack on and get back to the video, shall we?
Excellent. Can I ask, can that be bought from the behemoth that is Amazon?
There are free copies online. You can get free copies if you just did a search.
PDF.
There's PDF. I've got a PDF, I think.
Wow, excellent. And that's free.
It's the LibriVox, where they read the book to you.
Wow, and that's free.
That's free. You can get it on LibriVox. So you can just listen to it, but it also puts the text up on the screen, so you can read along whilst they're reading it, and that is and you can listen at that at speed and a half, so you can rattle through it a couple of times or get to the sections that you want. So that's excellent. Definitely worth a few hours of your time.
So that's an audio as well, so I can, while I'm doing my chores, I can have that going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on I think it's LibriVox.
Well, we've got van drivers, delivery drivers, we've got stay-at-home mums, we've got a wonderful audience. Guys and gals, you've got no excuse not to go and seek this out and have it on in the background, whether you be driving around, whether you're at home, doing your chores, whatever. You've got no excuse. And remember, knowledge is power.
This will make you think differently about our system. I mean, since I've read that, which is a while ago now, I mean, it's changed that and Blackstone's Laws of England.
I've got that's a fantastic.
They've changed the way I think about our system. And I mean, this is a whole another conversation about how our current system of government of parliament is no longer fit for purpose.
I absolutely agree. I think Israel have lobbied them into oblivion.
Yeah, and it's you can have that opinion based on knowledge as opposed to gut feeling, you know, actually written in the black letters. You know, it's the way it was set up when people had integrity. And I don't mean to be rude to anyone, but a formal education.
Yeah.
And if you are not as well educated as, I'm not saying Angela Rayner or other MPs, or there's one
Rachel Reeves.
What's the one? Diane Abacus.
Rachel from accounts.
Yeah, exactly. So these are people making the laws that control. Well, they do control us, and unfortunately, they are laws. Whether they're laws or not, or they're right and justifiable, you have to go to the courts to challenge them and to have them found as I'm thinking of the phrase now. It's not non-compliant. I can't recall the phrase now, but basically they have to be they're in conflict with the real law, and a judge will only declare it. I forget the phrase now because it's late and I'm a bit tired.
That's same, mate. But yeah, no, I get your meaning. It can be challenged in the right way. For example, a constitutional law principle over an administrative.
Absolutely, and if it is, oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
If it is if there is a conflict between the two, then a judge will declare it inconsistent, and then it generally, under protocol, it will go back to the government, and they're supposed to change it to make it consistent with common law or the constitution. But it's all done, like a lot of things in our parliaments. Oh, we apologise. Well, in the olden days, that was a significant thing and it had meaning. Nowadays, we apologise and they're still smiling while they're saying it. We don't have people that are educated. If they're not as educated as they were in the olden days, how can, well, A, they can be influenced, B, they probably be brought, I don't know. Nobody seems to have any moral fibre anymore.
They've got no morality. Certainly these politicians, I think there's very few. I mean, you could probably name on one hand any that seem to have any moral fibre. But that's symptomatic of a broken society. I mean, let's be honest, you know, they've well, think about it, right? You know, I don't want to sound like a bigot here, but an original sin, pride. Yet we celebrate a month of it, right? Yet we don't celebrate one day of a heterosexual marriage and a family.
Yeah, I mean, pride's been changed as well. I mean, I used to think that the word pride, the meaning of it, just the word itself, it has changed. And again, so much is a psyop and about influencing ourselves. I mean, it's no secret.
Immorality.
Yeah. Well, there's
decadence, immorality.
Life without consequence.
You've got it.
You know, there's no secret that the government spends an awful lot of our money on psychological operations.
Yes.
If you're going to fight somebody, the best way to fight and win them is not to physically fight them, is to take away their will to fight. And then
they've also got a nudging team, haven't they?
I mean, hello, you know, just listen to what we're saying. A nudging team. This just sounds so Stalin-esque, and you know, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We're surrounded by communism. We've got nudging teams, and how did we get here?
But it's all factual, and it's been a very slow, steady march through all the institutions.
Yeah, and we have to going back to the law and the courts. We have to sit there now and do everything we can. I mean, we had the great rise in freemen of the land again, and maritime law, and
you've got it. You've got it. All that nonsense. So this is when I first got into this. You know, I could very easily have slipped down that route, but you know, intuitively, I thought this is just knew it was nonsense. It didn't make any sense. And when you look up the maritime law, it's they've got a court, haven't they? A specific court, the High Court, to deal with maritime admiralty law. And when you look at it, it's about salvage rights. It's about, obviously the specific law of the sea. It's got nothing to do with civil procedure or criminal procedure when you read through.
It's got nothing to do with anything that's going to help you.
Exactly.
It's an example of how desperate or how many people realise something's not right, and they're looking at some way to validate their thoughts. And this comes along, and it's got elements of truth. There is an admiralty court. There is maritime law. It exists.
Yes.
It's common law, so it must be true. Just because there's a seed of truth in it, and they grasp that seed out of desperation, and then they make the facts fit the picture they want.
You got it.
And that I used to, many years ago, teach people mountaineering, and the number of times they'd get lost, and then you say, okay, just show me where you are. And what they'd do is they would make the map fit the ground, and they'd reassure themselves where they were when they had no idea. They were completely lost. And you say, okay, if we're there, just up there should be a small woods. Yes. What, just up there? Yeah. You see that? What out in the sea? So we're not there then, are we? No. Even though you desperately tried to make it fit because you wanted it to. And that's what people are doing. It's just human nature. So they're going off in these
tangents.
And instead of spending their energy learning real things that affect them, and a real way to fight these things. And I sent you some paperwork. One was a defense, I think, and one was a claim.
Yes. So but I thought we'd discuss today I've got in front of me here the magistrates court. This is where you dealt with your application notice to dismiss and return of garnished funds. That was the Covidius minimus, I believe.
Yes, that was the COVID one where they made a claim.
Yes. So tell me more. Because I know that now you would do this slightly, you would write it slightly differently, but I have to say it's still brilliantly written. And at the end of the day, it looks, Simon, it's very skilled. You've put in all the correct legislation to back you, and the criminal procedure rules and disclosure. You've shut them down, and you've articulated your defence in the correct way.
This is. I mean, it's as like Dr. Greaves says, it's not that difficult. It is formulaic. It is. This is what I'm accused of, and they have to tell you, and it'll be whatever it is, and it'll give you the reference, the act, or the section of such and such. So the simple answer is, oh, okay, I look at that and think this is what it says. Well, that's not what happened. So this is what it says. This is what it actually happened. So therefore, I can't have been guilty of that because that doesn't cover this. I mean, the COVID one, as you're talking about, I can't remember. Let me just pull up a copy here. I think
it was that you've got here the application notice to dismiss and return of garnished funds. And did you want me to say which magistrates court that was in?
It doesn't matter. It was in a Midlands.
It was in Loughborough. So it was Loughborough Magistrates Court.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's brilliantly written. I especially like the fact that the prosecutor, they haven't followed procedure. You've shut them down because and you put here arguments, right? The notice bringing this matter to the court's attention, notice of new date of hearing received by respondent is untimely. The respondent has yet to be served with an information or a written charge based on an information supported by affidavit under penalty of perjury, as required by CPR Part 7.4, subsection 6, which states where an authorised prosecutor issues a requisition. So, folks, what Simon's done, he's pointed out their deficiencies. They're trying to pull the wool over Simon's eyes, right? But he's like, well, hang on. The rules state that you have to do this, and you haven't done this. So an authorised prosecutor issues a requisition. That prosecutor must A, serve on the defendant, the requisition, and subsection 2, the written charge, and B, serve a copy of each on the court officer. Well, none of that happened. But because Simon's read the rules of criminal procedure, read the rules of civil procedure, which, you know, I've shown you guys, the audience, the books to get. You get the books that the solicitors have. Right, I'm going to grab them here. Look, for example, civil litigation. These are the books the solicitors have. I've got here family law and practice. I've got tons of books here. Criminal litigation and procedure. Now, just those three alone would sort out most of people's problems. And these are the books the lawyers and the solicitors use. And it's very straightforward. They even have templates, letter templates in there. So that when you're actually writing your notices or you're writing to people, you know, it's professional. It's the same as a legal professional is going to send. You don't look like a bloody idiot. They know they're dealing with somebody because they've read these CLP books, legal practice guides. You know, they know they're dealing with a player and not somebody turning up with draft pieces to a chess game. Sorry, Simon, I didn't mean to interject there.
No, like you say, I mean, even if basically you're showing them, even if you're not an expert, you're showing them that you're not prepared to just take their word for it. I mean, yes. I think the one that I would say I've got here on that one is the Health Protection Coronavirus International Travel England Regulations 2020 draws its authority from the Public Health Control of Disease Act 1984. This is an act relating to the control of disease and gives no authority for the restriction of the inalienable rights of healthy, free people. So basically, anyone that had a matter, anybody that had a COVID matter, should have just said, well, the authority for these COVID laws or regulations, the regulations, is based on the Control of Diseases Act. Well, that, and the first sentence of the Control of Diseases Act just says it's authority to control disease. So diseased persons, not so they have
not healthy persons.
Not healthy persons. They've got the original act had no authority to restrict any healthy person. So if that act didn't have that authority, it cannot then grant secondary authority to the new regulation. So they had no authority to do any of the COVID fines or restrictions. You know,
you've got it in this. I'll draw back to your original application notice. I'm going to elaborate on what you've just said there. You've put here, this is an act relating to the control of disease and gives no authority for the restriction of the unalienable rights of healthy, free people. The prosecutor lacks sufficient interest. Locus standi, which means has no standing to bring this action. Brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant, my friend.
Well, I mean, it's just basically, it's just reading what they're charging you under and then saying, well, that doesn't apply. And it's just telling them Well, that doesn't apply. In simple words, it says, well, that gives the authority to do this, but not the other, and you're trying to do the other. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused. I don't need to be a lawyer. I don't need to go to law school to say it doesn't give you authority to do what you've tried to do. And it's not difficult. It is simply read what they've charged you with, read that legislation, and then see if it applies. You know,
It's getting past that initial fear, because when they send this fucking shit through the post, at the beginning, it's intimidating. No
it's
doubt.
designed to be. It's designed to be.
You get the knowledge that fear goes, because you just think, right, what is this fucking shit they've sent me? Right, I'm going to disseminate it. What are they moving under? Bum, bum, bum. Right, let's read that. Let's take that apart, and then let's fucking go back at them.
Yeah. I mean, feel free to put that under the link if people want to have a look at it or whatever.
I think they would. They'd love that, because I think, honestly, I know that you would. There are certain aspects you would change now, but it does what it says on the tin. This got rid of it. Now, can I ask? I'm just going to ask, how did all this come about? What's the backstory to this? So you got a COVID fine, I'm assuming, or
yeah,
what happened?
I went away during COVID.
How dare you?
I know. I went on holiday. So,
oh no! How dare you?
So when I came back, the short story was I ended up having to fly back into Birmingham.
Right.
Now, I knew,
freedom-loving maniac.
Yeah, I knew that Birmingham had issued fines and bits and pieces, or it'd been on the news or whatever, saying, oh, people couldn't travel. It was a £10,000 fine and all this sort of thing.
Oh, propaganda.
Fear. Yeah. And so anyway, I flew back in, and I didn't have the paperwork for where you're staying, and didn't notify them, and hadn't booked 2 COVID tests, or whatever it was that you had to do.
Oh my God.
And I just turned up. And foolishly, when I got there was a woman meeting everybody, and she was asking for your paperwork. If you didn't have it, she said, oh, go that way. And then if you did have it, you go this way. And you obviously just go straight out. I went to go that way, where the naughty boys went. I went that way, and there was nobody supervising me going that way. And I should have just turned around and gone the other way. But I'd been so conditioned that when somebody in authority tells you to do something, the polite thing to do is to do it.
Yeah.
But I realised when I was waiting to be seen, so I moved to the other queue. But I was spotted, and the immigration bloke pulled me aside, and he basically gave me an iPad and made me fill in this form to get through. And he said, oh, and there'll be a fine of £1,000. So I just thought, well, that's a bit harsh. Anyway, I just didn't think anything of it. I thought, yeah, whatever. And funny old thing.
Did you write out the address that you were Boris Johnson at 10 Downing Street?
No, that's what I should have done. Tony Blair at some, what's his, Lord Ali's apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. I was, again, honest, which was foolish of me. They're not honest, but,
No, that's right. They're not.
I kept my integrity, and I thought, well, bear in mind, this was the beginning of COVID. So I hadn't done all of the research and the studying and the writing. I don't think I'd ever been to court.
This was all very new. Similar for all of us. We've never
absolutely
been through anything like this.
No, nothing at all. And so basically, the first I knew of it was my pension was garnished.
Wow.
So
and you're ex-forces, aren't you?
Yes, it was an ex-military. It was my military pension, and they taken, I think it's around about £300 a month out.
Fucking bastards.
And including all the fees and bits and pieces, the fine had more than doubled, so it was over £2,000.
Wow.
And they were taking £300 a month, and that's how I noticed. So first I had to track it down, and they said, oh, this is because of this and that and the other. And I thought, oh, blimey. So eventually I tracked it down, and I got the number of the people to ring, and they said, oh, you need to do, I think it was a section 142 from the Magistrates Court Act to state that you didn't know anything about it, and it reopens the case. So they did that over the phone, and then they gave me a hint.
You reopened the case, so you said. So that was okay. So that was the green light for you then to suddenly, really learn some litigation, I'm assuming. So you reopened the case.
I can't recall whether I'd started to read a little bit by them, but I'd never actually been in court. I didn't know whether I was following Alphonse or looking at what he was doing or listening to. I think the first person I listened to was Observation Deck.
Yeah, Robert, yeah. He's good.
Well, I'm not going to say anything bad about Robert.
I'm not going to disparage him. Look, I started out watching him, but I very quickly, like yourself, I found Alphonse and Big Sib and Amanda Riding, and I never looked back.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot believe that so many people went for I've got to be careful what I say, but the Project Jericho.
Yeah, I didn't get sucked into that. No.
Yeah, I mean, how these people would have believed they had standing to bring a claim, how they could say they were damaged on I don't know, but so
I think it was naivety.
Yeah, and it was hopium, like we were saying before. Yeah. People knew something was wrong and they just wanted to do something about it. So yeah, basically I opened up the case again, and then I had to go to the court for the first time to say it's wrong, blah blah. I did all the usual things, special appearance, bits and pieces, and they quashed the order and gave me a new date. Well, they quashed the order, but they continued to garnish my pension. Then I had to, because the left hand doesn't talk to the right hand. It's a complete mess, and it took me months and months to get the money back. But eventually,
you got the money back.
Yeah, I got the money back.
Good for you. So you've gone from they were going to steal 2,000 off you.
They were stealing. They were stealing 300.
Well, they were in the process of taking 300 a month.
Yeah.
And causing you some problems in court, but you managed to shut all that down and get the money back. So we were right in the middle of that. I shall shut up now.
Yeah. I'm just looking at what else I got there. So the first hearing I did, and I tried to get it dismissed. And they were having none of it. They wanted a hearing. So then I had
Ever grappled with the labyrinth that is the legal system? It's a maze of jargon, procedures and power plays that can stump even the most intelligent among us. Enter How to Win in Court, a transformative course designed to level the playing field. Brought to you by the dynamic partnership of Sovereign Empowerment and Dr. Frederick Graves. This course is like a compass, guiding you through the intricate passages of the legal system. It provides powerful case-winning strategies and tools for controlling solicitors and persuading judges. This isn't just about understanding the law, it's about empowering you to use the law to your advantage. This comprehensive course eliminates guesswork and empowers you to navigate the legal landscape with confidence. Imagine having step-by-step instructions at your fingertips, demystifying the complex world of court cases. With How to Win in Court, that's precisely what you'll get. There's a treasure trove of sample forms, video seminars, audio clips, and comprehensive classes waiting for you. Finally, you'll have all the tools you need to persuade and control judges in any case or court. The beauty of this course is its accessibility. Whether you're an early bird or a night owl, you can dive into the course material anytime with round-the-clock online access. And no matter the device, be it your smartphone, tablet, or laptop, you'll have seamless access to the course. You'll also gain access to invaluable tools like the free online legal research tool, legal dictionary, and a Q&A forum. Learn from a seasoned attorney with over 40 years of winning experience who has distilled his expertise into this comprehensive program. These resources are like having a personal legal advisor, always ready to assist you, but without having to pay exorbitant legal fees. For those struggling to afford a solicitor, this course is a beacon of hope. Good people have suffered too long at the hands of power because they didn't know how to fight back, or they didn't have access to the right resources. Now, in a matter of just a few days, you can acquire the tools and the knowledge that it takes law students years to achieve. With the right knowledge and tools, you'll be able to navigate the legal waters with confidence, winning your case without expensive legal representation. Alternatively, if you already have a solicitor, you can equip them with the tools and tactics to fight effectively on your behalf. Level the playing field and secure your victory. And the cherry on top? Upon course completion, you'll receive an honorary law degree, a testament to your newfound legal prowess. No matter what court, civil or criminal, you'll be able to conquer any courtroom challenge with ease. This step-by-step guidance ensures a quick and straightforward learning experience, empowering you to navigate the legal system with bulletproof confidence. That's right, the power to navigate the legal system is now within your reach. All it takes is the will to learn and the courage to empower yourself. Everyone deserves access to the right legal knowledge. That's why we offer the jurisdictionary law course at an unbeatable price. For less than the cost of a 1-hour legal consultation, you'll gain unlimited access to this complete program for up to 2 full years. Take control of your legal battles without breaking the bank. So why wait? Enroll in the jurisdictionary course today and take that first step towards legal empowerment. How to Win in Court has become the most trusted law course worldwide for almost 30 years. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to gain the upper hand in the courtroom. Your journey to mastering the legal system starts here. When you have access to the right resources, you will become a force to be reckoned with in any courtroom. So click the link now to become empowered with all the information you'll ever need to know how to win in court. Learn how to use the court system that is there to protect you, your family, your property, and most of all, your rights.